I thought getting rid of stuff would make everything feel lighter, but I didn't expect how heavy it would feel at first. The truth is, decluttering isn't just about stuff. It's about grief guilt and the quiet pressure to keep what no longer fits because someone else once cared about it. And if you've ever stood in a room full of boxes wondering where to even begin, you're not alone. This video walks through a few things I wish someone had told me earlier, not to make decluttering easier, but to make it feel a little less confusing, a little less lonely. Cleaned the house, still felt stuck. I used to think if I just cleared the clutter, I'd finally feel peace. But every time I did a big purge, I ended up back in the same cycle, cleaner shelves, same overwhelm. Because here's what no one really says: decluttering solves the symptom, not the source. You can donate half your house, but if new stuff keeps coming in, if the spending habits, the emotional buys, the just-in-case mindset don't change, the clutter comes back. What helped me break the loop was getting honest about my inflow. I started asking one question before every purchase: where will this live in my home? If I didn't have an answer, I didn't buy it. That one shift cut my impulse shopping by more than half. The real progress started when I stopped seeing decluttering as the goal and started treating it like the starting line. The just-in-case. Trap one of the sneakiest things that kept me stuck was the fear of regret. What if I need this later? That question stopped me from letting go of things I hadn't touched in years. But here's what shifted for me. I realized I was treating my home like a warehouse for every possible version of my future, and that wasn't helping the version of me who actually lives here now. I started thinking in terms of cost versus convenience. Could I replace it for under $20? Or borrow it easily if I ever truly needed it? If yes, I let it go. And in years of decluttering, I've only rebought one item, a hand mixer, and I didn't even mind, because the peace I gained in the meantime was worth it. Letting go doesn't mean you'll never need anything again. It just means you trust yourself to handle it, if that day ever comes. Too many decisions. Use a decluttering rule. Sometimes the biggest drain isn't the stuff, it's the constant decision fatigue. You pick up one item, debate it, then the next, then again. It's mentally exhausting. One thing that helped me was setting a simple rule ahead of time so I didn't have to rethink every choice. For example, if I wouldn't buy this again today, I let it go. Or if I haven't used this in the past year, and it's not seasonal or sentimental, it goes. The rule acted like a guide rail when my emotions wanted to waffle. I once decluttered an entire closet in an afternoon just using that 1-year rule. It took the weight off my brain because the decisions were already made. You can change the rule depending on the space, but having one keeps you moving forward, especially when you're tired of thinking so hard. You're allowed to let it go quietly. One of the hardest parts for me wasn't the stuff itself, it was the guilt. Guilt about gifts I never used. Guilt about family heirlooms collecting dust. Guilt that felt louder than logic. But here's what I've learned. Your home is not a storage unit for other people's memories. It's okay to let go of something that meant a lot to someone else, even if you loved them, especially if it's keeping you stuck. When I finally donated a set of dishes from my grandmother, I kept one teacup and wrote her name underneath it. That one small piece brings back all the memories without taking up an entire cabinet. You don't need a reason that justifies it to everyone else. If it doesn't fit your life physically or emotionally, that's enough. When saving it for someone doesn't work out. It's a tough moment when you realize the things you've been saving for your kids for someday, for someone aren't actually wanted by anyone else. It can feel like rejection, or like all that history suddenly doesn't matter. But the truth is, most of us are trying to simplify. We don't want to inherit more. We want less. When I tried to pass down some old furniture and keepsakes, I was met with kind but firm no's. At first, it stung. But then I remembered I'm not preserving a legacy, I'm preserving my peace. Letting go of what no one else wants doesn't mean the memories disappear. It just means I'm making room for my own life. So if you've been waiting for permission to let something go, you already have it. Some items just hit different. Sometimes it's not just about the object, it's about what it brings up. A sweater that still smells like them. A box of wedding photos after a divorce. These aren't just things. They're emotional landmines. And facing them can feel impossible. What helped me was setting boundaries, both time and emotional ones. I gave myself permission to handle only one emotional item at a time, in a space where I felt safe. Sometimes that meant lighting a candle, playing music, or having a friend nearby, whatever softened the edge. I didn't force closure. I just gave the memory room to breathe without letting it take over the day. You don't have to rush grief to make progress. Some items ask for gentler hands, and that's okay. Hard either way. So pick the one that frees you. Living with clutter is hard. Letting go of clutter is also hard. But only one of those gives you space to breathe. It's easy to think I'll deal with it later, but that quiet pressure adds up the drawer that won't close the bag by the door you keep stepping around. I used to put it off too, because sorting through it felt exhausting. What helped me shift was realizing that I was already doing the hard part, I just wasn't getting any of the relief from it. So I started picking the hard that made things better, even 10 minutes a day. One shelf, one bag, one decision. Progress doesn't feel perfect, but it does feel lighter. You can keep the memory without keeping the box. I used to keep entire boxes of sentimental things because I thought getting rid of them meant erasing the people tied to them. But over time, I realized the weight of those items was keeping me emotionally stuck, not connected. Now I keep a few pieces that genuinely make me smile, a recipe card in my mom's handwriting, a photo my dad carried in his wallet. The rest I let go, and I'm still just as connected to the memories. Maybe even more so because I'm no longer resenting the space they take up. You're allowed to honor your past without physically holding on to all of it. Not sure yet? Try a maybe box. Sometimes you really don't know if you're ready to let something go, and that uncertainty can stall the whole process. I used to feel like I had to decide everything right away, keep or toss no in between. But that pressure made me quit halfway through. What actually helped creating a maybe box, not as a junk drawer, but as a temporary holding place. I'd put uncertain items in there, seal the box, write the date on it, and revisit it in 3 months. If I hadn't needed or missed anything inside, I let it go without the guilt. It gave me space to pause without staying stuck. It's not about avoiding the decision, it's about giving yourself time to make the right one. The trick is, don't wait for a trick. I've tried every method. Lists, color codes, donation bins in every room. But nothing helped until I actually started. Not perfectly. Not with a whole weekend cleared. Just one drawer, one afternoon, one choice at a time. We often wait for the right system, but the truth is, the right system is the one you'll actually use. For me, that looked like setting a 15-minute timer and seeing what I could get through before it went off. No pressure, just movement. You don't need a plan to begin. You just need to begin. Letting go isn't about being ruthless. It's about being honest with what actually supports your life now. When you shift from decluttering as a one-time task to a way of thinking, your home starts to feel less like a burden and more like a place that works for you. Even small changes, one drawer, one habit, can create more calm than you'd expect. If this gave you something useful to take with you, feel free to like or subscribe, no pressure, just if it helps.